This is a follow-up video to Addiction, a Symptom, Not a Disease. This video is on the folly of the war on drugs. I just want to go over a few things really quickly and explain to you the problems the war on drugs has brought to us. And here we go. So the war on drugs was first initiated by President Nixon. He implemented the war on drugs as a political move to basically feed off of the fear of the public of drugs. So, drugs were very misunderstood. There was a lot of fear in the public concerning drugs, and Nixon moved to the war on drugs as a political ploy to reassure his presidency during re-election. The CIA and the FBI, I'm not going to go into great detail on this, have been involved heavily in drug trafficking. There are documents and there are testimonials, there are court cases you can look up where they've been found guilty and have been found guilty as being involved in drug trafficking. You might want to check it out. There's a lot of cool documents on it. Somebody you might want to look up is a man named Michael Rupert, who was a LAPD narcotics officer who exposed the CIA specifically and several of their operations where they pretty much brought drugs in and sold them and used the money as under the table money to fund their black operations without it having to be on the books. Now, there have been several countries who have decriminalized drugs, and I gotta say the numbers are extremely impressive, and when you think about it, it sounds counterintuitive, but decriminalizing drugs actually helps with addiction rates. It's a very positive influence on addiction. The war on drugs has a very negative effect on addiction, and as drugs are criminalized and illegalized, we see addiction and crime rates going up. So, the Netherlands decriminalized in 1976, and addiction dropped by 28%. Germany decriminalized in 1994, and addiction dropped by 82%, and overdoses completely vanished. That's nearly 17 years of zero overdoses. You gotta think about that. It's how they decriminalized the drugs, and it's how they implemented their what's the word I'm looking for? The regulation of the drugs. Now, Portugal decriminalized drugs in 2001, and overdoses dropped by 22%. Addiction dropped by 22%, overdoses decreased by 52%, and HIV infections dropped by 71%. You gotta think those are some pretty impressive numbers, and it all stems from decriminalization. All stems from making drugs, decriminalizing drugs and regulating them. Once you decriminalize drugs, you take the power out of the drug lords and drug dealers' hands. They don't make money anymore. There's not a 8,000% tax, I guess you could say, on the drugs that are sold in the street. So they become available, they become extremely cheap, and there's a lot more help, because they're regulated. People can get off of it a lot easier. They're not afraid. They're not waiting out in the streets for their drug dealer for hours on end, calling them every second, when are you going to get here, when are you going to get here? They can just go to the clinic, pick up a shot or whatever, do their thing, go to work, have a productive day. They can be productive citizens. We don't have people in jails being not being productive. We've got jails and prisons that are privately owned. So this whole war on drugs thing is massively damaging to people who are trying to get help and people who are trying to get into recovery. And it's a mechanism used by bad people and evil organizations to raise money and damage the world, because they don't care about, make money off people going to prison, make money off drugs they sell to them on the streets. It's a win-win situation for them. They can, they have no reason to not. They're just bad people, really. So yeah, if you want to look into more of this stuff, you want to check out Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. It's a bunch of retired cops and federal judges and legislators and people who've been involved in the law and in the war on drugs firsthand, and they have watched it destroy the United States. And so they got an organization together and said, it's enough. Let's work on this. Let's try and decriminalize all this stuff and let's regulate it and let's fix America. So if you want to find the website, it's LEAP, LEAP, Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. Okay, so leap.cc. Okay, just go to your browser, type in leap.cc, and you can get all their interesting information and donate and all that stuff. So yeah, the war on drugs is damaging, and I kind of want to go over this whole fear thing. A lot of people don't understand drugs, and a lot of people don't understand that because drugs are illegal is exactly the reason why they're such a problem. You need to understand that. It's absolutely, it's a fundamental flaw that or it's not a fundamental flaw, it's a fundamental idea and fundamental concept that that kind of cradles the human consciousness. I don't know, it's a interesting idea and concept, but so there's a lot of fear going around about drugs, what they are, what they do, and I've got to say there is a reason for each drug, there is a purpose for each drug, and especially hallucinogens and psychedelics, they are the most perfect class of healing drugs that we have, and we have tossed them into this category of evil that it has completely brainwashed the public. LSD has been shown to have remarkable results with people that have schizophrenia. It's been shown to help quite a bit with addiction. Psilocybin has been shown to help a lot with addiction. It's also been shown to help with marital problems, like massively. Like people on the brink of divorce have gone off and not psilocybin, MDMA. Sorry. Anyway, marijuana has been shown to reverse several types of cancers, and all of these drugs are healing drugs. There's one called ibogaine that's shown to be amazing with addiction, almost a 93% full recovery rate for almost a 20-year span of time. So you've got to understand that these hallucinogens and psychotropics allow people who are addicted and in an addicted mindset, who can't get into a regular meditation regimen, a daily regimen of meditation, it pushes them into an interface with their subconscious mind and forces them to resolve their issues, thus relieving the addiction. Just they'll separate from the collective human consciousness and be able to resolve those issues and let go of their addiction. So yeah, it's a massively bizarre thing that has happened. It's sad. The war on drugs has damaged way more lives than it should have. So the answer is decriminalization, and I ask you guys to seriously think about psychotropics and hallucinogens, because they are healing drugs and they will help every single person out there who is looking for healing. I promise you. So that concludes this video, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.